Welcome to GHOSTWATCH2016. We're watching Kamen Rider Ghost. My name is Coriander Dickinson, and I've seen a bunch of Kamen Rider.
My name is Heather Deary, and I put my hand out and took it back.
My name is Coriander Dickinson, and I've seen a bunch of Kamen Rider.
I feel like I'm being mocked in some way.
No, there's just two of us.
I was participating. Did the thing we normally do.
This is episode 31.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
The
power of the God
Misers.
Misers. Oh, what? You were podcasting here? Heather, where were you?
The notes I took were so long in the first bit that the title was on the second page and I wasn't prepared.
Put the title at the start of your notes.
I can't when the show doesn't start with the title.
You
notes
can.
go
You can
sequentially.
flip back the
No,
page.
I can't. It's impossible.
This podcast is falling apart really quickly.
Well, I had the same problem because, like, when it got to the title, I was already on the second page, and I had to flip back. But you will notice, if you go through all my notes, I always put the title up at the start of my notes.
Where it belongs.
Yes, I agree. It belongs there.
Right before the three things that happened in the last episode.
Good
No.
segue.
Last time always comes first for me.
Actually, same. But last time, oh no, Grandma Fumi is dead. Poncho Boy is back and fights while stuffing his face hole with takoyaki. And Pimple Butt got popped.
There's 40 days left.
There's 40 days left.
So we start with Taco and Makoto and PB talking on a bridge in a park about how the world is a treasure and how PB is going to protect the world and change his own world, and a lot of families running around the park with children and old people poking flowers.
Side note, PB, formerly known as Pretty Boy, is now Poncho Boy.
Because he's constantly wearing the green poncho that Fumi gave
He's
him.
still pretty, though.
Still pretty, but we're going to call him Poncho
But
Boy.
we don't want to call him Pretty Poncho Boy. Then we have to change the initials to be PPP.
PPB.
Well, it's like
That's
P
what I
squared
tried to
B,
say.
P squared B.
No, I'm just going to call him
P2B.
PB and J.
Who's the J?
Me.
It might
Javert?
be...
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. Military man. I think we got a better ship now. That's a good...
Yes.
PB and J.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll still call him PB though. Anyway, so PB is in this park. Oh, and then Taco keeps talking about his heart. Our hearts are stronger together.
Yeah.
'Cause,
PB's all like,
I
want
help.
you two to help me with
Our-
my cool mission to
our
reform
hearts.
my planet.
Are stronger together. We
Yeah,
can
it
do
was
this
a-
together.
Big friendship moment. My favorite part was the ghost takoyaki stand that came into view when PB was like, I remember that being there.
Well, he was talking to them about the lessons that Mrs. Fumi had shared with him about how the world is a treasure. I haven't heard him say that the sky is blue, but
Well,
I get that he feels that.
So the three of them are having a big circle friendship moment, and the camera pans over to also point out that the other friends are here too. The
And then
secondary
it
characters.
cuts. It's just like, yeah, I need your help, you two specifically, that it pans over to the other three useless people.
They're just looking and they're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, the two students aren't even there. They don't even count at all.
No. Now we're in the prayer room.
And we get a shot of all of the panels with the panel for Pimple Butt missing. And then it reforms.
Does that mean Pimple Butt isn't actually popped?
Well, Sweatsbro did say that they are immortal, so I guess maybe while temporarily popped, the pimple reformed on the butt.
And then Gramps is there.
Military Gramps.
Military Gramps is there.
And he's all like, what do you intend to do with this power? And Sweat Emperor is all like, I'm just going to see how it do. And then two more panels materialize into Latex Boys.
And this is the weird thing. They, like, take their fist and they, like, fire something into the sky. And then it goes into real world and descends upon adults and turns them into children.
Yeah, it's like this blue, watery energy orb and that splits off into many different forms and hits people.
And it hits the adults and then turns them into kids. And the kids are still wearing the same clothes the adults were, except now they're swimming in them. So it's really funny.
Especially since it's all like work outfits.
It's all like suits.
There's a couple kids that are like moving company kids, so they're wearing like the towel and stuff around the neck for the sweat and the jumpsuits.
It's really funny.
We cut to Snapple basement with
Hold on.
What? Do you want me to
We-
say the title of the episode? Because that's what's actually next to
No,
my notes.
it's just important that Sweat Emperor is saying that he's going to assimilate the human world to fix his own. Like, we have his motivation finally. That they're trying to take over the human world because their world is dying.
I thought we were done with that scene.
Anyways, on to the next scene.
I don't know. Keep telling me about Sweatspro.
He's a man. He is 16 mans. Some of them are more sweaty than others. I don't think the latex breathes very well.
A man, a plan, Panama.
Canal.
I don't deal in canals.
So now we're in the basement at Snapple HQ. Heather, continue.
All right. Akari, Onari, and Taco Time are all there. Taco Time is talking about how he can see people's memories now. Because Akari's like, what? You can do that? And he's all, well, I mean, when I touch them, sometimes I can't seem to control it. And then we get flashbacks of flashbacks of flashbacks.
We flash back to every time. We flash back to every time that he has touched someone and seen into their past. And
Not every time he's touched someone, comma, and not every time he's seen into the past. Every time he has touched someone and then seen into the past because he's touching them.
Yes, that should be specified because as many flashbacks as there are, Taco Time has touched more people than those flashbacks.
We assume.
he's touched many people in many ways.
By
Emotionally.
hugging them. He hugged them a lot. Do you remember
I do.
the
With the
crystal
teardrop?
tear hugs he
The
used
crying
to give?
zone?
Mm-hmm. Emotionally.
We haven't had
physically.
that in a long time either.
He also punches people a lot.
He
like
does.
a lot of people. I don't know if gnomes are people, but he punches them.
Does punching? I guess. Yeah. Okay. Punching counts as touching. It's a very specific type
well,
of
like
touching.
one of them was like a fist bump he was doing with Spectre, right?
So we just needed to clarify that it was
Yeah. Also,
touching and seeing flashbacks.
consensual punching, fist bumps.
Consensual
only.
flashbacks.
Consensual
flashbacks.
punching. Then they decide to ask Gramps.
Ornari runs over to the table where we finally get to see tiny table friends. So I guess they're doing okay. And he grabs Spider Lantern and just flashes it forward. 'Cause he's like, Gramps is usually here.
Urascent shows up instead of Gramps, though.
And says boo.
Of course. And then what does he say?
Totes jelly.
Oh, you've got the power to see memories? Oh, man, that's sweet. I'm Totes Jelly. Hey, you know what? You've been a big slacker. Remember last time you tried to make a wish to come back to life with the 15 icons and it rejected you and you couldn't do that? You're going to die for real in 39 days. Better get on it.
Two things. One, the subtitle said Totes Jelly. Two, he held up a tiny sign that said 39 days.
Yeah, he had like a chit.
Yeah, which is weird because we were told at the beginning of the episode that it was 40.
It was 40 at the beginning of the episode.
A whole day passed somehow while they
Within
were at the
5
pork.
minutes.
Yep.
Time moves strangely on the television.
So Pretty Boy is saying, I don't have much time left. And then Cannon appears at the stairs and said, Poncho Boy. Poncho Boy is here. That's right. There's
Prince Elaine is here.
something you have to see.
And then they all go upstairs and have a meeting, and Poncho Boy is all like, here's a holographic projection of the world, and here's all of the gates that the invasion force could come in through.
And then one of the students, Trainyard, I believe, gets a call from his mom, which is weird. And he kind of runs out of the room. It's like, Mom, why are you calling me at work? Mom!
Mom, I told you not to call me. Jeez, no, I'm not going to go out with you.
Ma'am.
Mom, you're the worst. Shut up. Leave me alone. And then the whole group goes out to destroy some gates with their handy-dandy maps.
I wrote down maps with eyes because that is what you yelled out when the
I wrote
scene
that exact
changed.
thing down
I wrote-
because of that.
We were
Shibuya maps looking while transformed.
When we were watching, the scene suddenly cut to a close-up of the map with the eye stickers on it, and Corey was just like, maps
Map
with
with
eyes!
So we see Necrom, Inspector, and Akari, and they're walking around with maps with eyes.
And they're transformed so that they can immediately fight. They're like, oh, we found a gate. And they do the seal to reveal the gate. And then it also wibblies and reveals a whole horde of gnomes protecting the gate.
Generic gnomes. And then they fight, punch.
And explode some gnomes and then explode the gate.
And then we're in another place, magically, and it's Taco and Ryoma, actually, fighting, doing the same thing. And then Inari runs over. God, this was so dumb. So they, kill the generics that are protecting that gate, and Onari just puts the biggest X imaginable on this map. It was so excessive.
It was huge.
Like, you could have just crossed it out. It would have been fine.
But more importantly, now he's hungry, and he wants to get ramen.
His stomach rumbles so effing loud.
The two students run up.
Trainyard hates ramen.
Yeah, literally says, I hate ramen.
Taco goes up and touches him.
And then there's a flashback of Trainyard and his mum in like working in a ramen place, and she's like, you need to man up, you need to learn how to be a man, be a real man. And he's like,
Man.
he's like really bummed out, and he like runs out of the ramen place, and you can tell it was like a traumatic time in his like childhood.
Well, he can't compare to his dad.
No.
He's dressed in a school uniform, and he's got like one of those leather cases, so I think he was high school, supposedly, even though it's the same actor.
Yeah, with
Just
no
whining.
age difference. But you could tell it was a flashback. And so Taco sees this flashback and then is like, your mom runs a ramen place. You shouldn't hate your mom. Trainyard's like, how do you...
Taco Time
What?
is such, like, I get that he can see people's flashbacks, but he saw what happened and is like, oh, nope, you should not fight with your family.
He's like, but family. And Trainyard's like, shut up. You
And
don't
then
know me. And then he runs off.
away.
Airpart follows after him, like
And
a good
Taco
friend.
follows after him, too.
Not like a good friend. I mean, if you did that to a person and they run off, that person maybe should give some space.
Just a little bit.
Now we're in the park at a tree.
And there's a lady with a sweater and jeans and, like,
Little bouquet
Chucks.
of flowers. And she lays the bouquet of flowers at the bottom of the tree and is basically like, we miss you, and we're sorry the Trainyard's not here today, this time. So obviously, like, paying respect to a dead
a dead
person.
dad.
A dead dad.
A dead dad. And the phone call was to call Trainyard out to come visit the grave, apparently.
Well, the special spot of meaning, because it's not a grave.
Yeah, it's not... yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're paying
The
respect.
memorial zone tree.
It's like the money zone, but the
Memorial zone tree.
The
money tree. The giving tree.
As Trainyard's mom is bent down putting these flowers on the tree, the one of the energy balls, I guess, goes into her, and then she turns into a child, and she stands up and looks at the flowers and doesn't remember why she's there
She's
or
all
what
like,
happened.
Why are there flowers here? Like, that's a question you would ask
Yeah,
if
yep,
you saw
not-
flowers.
Not why am I here, or what just happened, but why are there flowers? That's dumb.
Cut to Sweatsbro watching this scene of adult turning into a child, and he's just like, oh, that's a pretty neat power, which I kind of felt was a little weird given that he summoned a thing and had it just like blast energy balls everywhere. Like he didn't know.
I believe White Sister shows up at some point. Snow White.
The other latex boy starts to do something, because they're the two latex boys that transformed from the panels in the prayer room, and he like sticks his hand out, and it causes an earthquake in Gnome Hell. Snow White, sister lady, is walking through the hallways, as she do, and then she turns around and she's like, oh, they're up to something.
Now we're at Deep Connect with good old Steve Bills and Steamy Punk Boy, Steamy Punk Man. And it's like, good job, you got their trust. They trust you now.
In case you forgot that Steamy Punk is using President Steve Bills to trick kids.
To trick Snapple.
Yeah, to trick Snapple into
They're
trusting.
still kids.
They're like in their
adults.
20s.
Akari is a scientist.
You don't get to be a scientist as a child.
No.
No, Akari probably did.
They don't just hand out those lab coats to anyone.
They do if you go to science camp.
Have you been to science camp?
No, I just watched from the bushes.
So Steamy Punk Man is like, I'm going to leave and check out something interesting. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So now we have Spectre, Necrom, and Akari at an active gate, and they get thrown back by a gravity wave.
Yeah, the gate was active before they got there. And I think the gravity wave is connected to the power of the latex boy.
Yeah. So then Spectre grabs an icon and has a flashback to the prayer room.
It's the icon with the sinister eye on it, so it's the
Yeah.
Deep Spectre icon.
Deep Spectre.
And he does say afterwards that, what was that vision? So I'm not sure if it was a flashback or not.
The vision was of the gate that's in the prayer room,
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by the different portals, and it's like, oh man, are you ready to see the source of your power? It's like a flashback to him talking to Military Gramps about what Deep Spectre's power is
Oh, okay.
and how it could be overwhelming. So,
So
the
then
source of the power is probably the same source
Yeah.
as what the gun misers.
Then he destroyed the gate.
Yeah.
And then is like, why did I have that vision? I don't understand.
And he used gun glasses slasher, and I'm upset.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't-
he transformed to Deep Spectre to destroy a gate that previously a bunch of them have done with other gates, just with the two of them. It seemed like overkill.
I mean, he really wanted it gone. But then Akari runs up and answers a phone, and it's Cannon. And Cannon's back at HQ with a bunch of screaming kids.
Like, you don't see them in shot, but you see them like throwing crap and screaming.
And you see the fear in Cannon's eyes, and you're like, I've been there. I know that pain. So then everybody runs to, or Akari rather runs to HQ.
Yeah, Spectre and Necrom are going to stay behind and destroy more
They'll
gates.
shut down all the gates.
But Trainer's mom, child, shows up and is like, oh no, hey, I went to my home and it's a ramen shop now and my parents are missing. Help me, strange two boys
2 adult men's that I don't know.
in leather.
Now we're back at Snapple HQ again. And again, there are just kids everywhere. And they all have something in their hands that they're throwing.
Yep.
Usually there's one quiet kid, and there wasn't. Everyone was
The
like...
quiet kid was Cannon.
Yeah, everyone was hyped up on sugar. So you run in, and then there's like an older gentleman that walks out, and he's like, these kids were adults this morning, and I know because I was the principal of the elementary school, and I know them. And then they're all screaming, and then Akari and Taco are like, wait, what? And then Akari's like, no, here's the science behind it.
Cellular regression is happening. Something has triggered their cells to age backwards. And I'm like sitting here, like, that was not enough time for cells to cause them to shrink
But
like 3 feet.
you know why I saw it in jellyfish one time.
I saw it in jellyfish, but not humans.
So but
Science.
that's definitely what's happening.
Yeah.
Real science.
I really liked how she's just like, oh no, cellular regression. And Taco Time's like, wait, can you explain what that means?
For dumbs.
Yeah, literally he says, can you dumb it down for me? So now we're back with the tree mum girl explaining to Spectre and Poncho Boy about, something about the town's different. I was like there, and then something happened, and then the town's all different. I don't know why.
But this is where it happened. And then
Back with Principal Man.
Who recognizes Trainyard because he was his principal. And which I guess is necessary information because it leads them to realize it's all in the same neighborhood.
well, they also give us Trainyard's mum's name.
Miho.
Miho.
So miso?
Miso? No.
Miso soup?
Miho means something different.
Miso ramen.
Ramen?
No, I guess we call
Ramen
it
girl.
Ramen girl.
The
Ramen
ramen
mom?
girl.
Ramen mom. Ramen mom.
Got there. See, that's how we workshop our names here. You just gotta live workshopping. So,
Ramen mom.
I think at this point, I think we're outside, and then the principal is further explaining that adults are getting turned into kids, and he like picks up a bicycle, like puts a kickstand up, and right at that moment, he gets turned into a child.
And he's just with these strange people that he's been explaining stuff to.
But
And he
doesn't
turns
realize
around
anymore.
and he's like, oh no, adults. And he runs.
He's just like, but he's in this giant like tweed suit that he's swimming in now. Trainyard runs after the girl, Ramen Mom. Runs after Ramen Mom.
Well, they see down the street Ramen Mom running. And Trainyard sees her and recognizes her.
He's like, wait, that's my mom. And then Steamy Punk Man is watching from the side, sinisterly.
Ho, 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 this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's decided to take a me day and walk around and people watch. And he's really enjoying people watching today.
So then Shibs, as I'm calling him, runs up to Ramen Mom, and she's in front of the ramen shop. And she's like, this was my home. And he goes, I think you're my mom.
And she's like, you're
no.
weird.
All right, weird boy.
Wimp.
Yeah, wimp boy.
Oh yeah, wimpy face.
And then like runs off again.
And then everyone else catches up with Trainyard. And he's all like, that was my mom. And they're all like, oh. Ah.
Yeah, that was a good reaction shot.
So then we're back at HQ again, and a man is walking up the front steps, and we recognize this man.
This old man with glasses. I recall him cowering in fear in an old lab that he was squatting in.
Yeah,
while he enjoyed his poetry fan.
Several episodes ago.
Like forever ago.
Yeah,
We thought he was dead.
We thought he was dead. He was one of the scientist doctors who was researching the monolith 10 years ago with Taco's dad. And the last we saw, he was not well. But he walks up to the front, and Cannon walks out, and he's like, hey, is Taco here? And Cannon's like, nah. And then he's like, wait, what's your name? You look familiar. And she's like, I'm Cannon. And he's like, oh my God, you're alive. And then he like collapses on the stairs out of just like joy. Necrom and Spectre are then seen finishing a fight. And Ramen Mom runs up and is like, the park is so important to me. And then Shibs runs up again, and then she runs away from Shibs.
That seems like a legit thing to do. I went home, and then a strange older boy came up to me and said, hey, you're my mom. And then I ran away, and he kept following me, so I kept running.
That's totally fair.
And she runs, and Taco catches up with her.
And touches her
What?
in an appropriate way. Sorry.
It was not an appropriate way. It's not appropriate to grab people that way.
Okay, but it wasn't like... Anyways. It was PG-13.
He grabbed a strange child.
He grabbed her by the shoulders.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
That's very specific, and because every time you say things like it's PG-13, it
implies
bad.
that it could have not been.
Well, he grabbed her by the shoulders and gets a flashback in his brain.
To why the park is important.
Mm-hmm.
There's delinquents. Ah, it's so good. It is.
Yeah, tell us.
She's in the park talking to some delinquents and being real mad at them for not putting their trash in the trash can. And it's not like it's trash strewn out everywhere. It's like in a tiny pile right next to the trash can. And they're mad at her because they're like, what you gonna do about it? And then another very obviously delinquent boy walks up and is like, what you doing? Picking on a tiny child. And he beats them up and puts their trash in the trash can. And she's just like, oh. And he's like, oh, you've got guts, kid. And he walks off and she's like, my prince.
She fell in love that day.
And
Super
Taco's
cute.
like, Oji-sama. And everyone's like, how did you know? Because they all run up at the same time. And then...
Bunch of gnomes run up, and then there's a figure.
a special gnome.
He looks scary. He's dressed all in black, and he's got the military outfit on. And we like pan up, and we see his face. And then Poncho Boy is just like, Shiro, he trained me.
Yeah, the guy's got like a black headband, headscarf, holding his hair back, which makes him look a lot like Trainyard's dad from the previous flashback. Who had his hair slicked back and was wearing just all black.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be Sweats Bro, because they started with his shoes when he walked in.
Well, I expected like military man, right? We haven't seen him in a long time.
It's
and I was
true.
like, oh no, maybe he's here to help with his gnome fleet or something.
He is not happy with Poncho Boy, telling him he sided with humans.
And he uses an icon to transform and it says Ultima. And it turns him into like Battle Cat, but like Battle Cat with like some cool twiggy bits attached to his head.
I like the way you describe that.
Twiggy bits.
No, he looked badass when he was transformed. He was like mostly white with like hints of gold,
And Steamy Punk looming in the back, so like, oh, they've replaced military man.
which is Javert.
Yeah.
PB&J. Everyone transforms at this point, and they all fight.
Punch, slash. Battle Cat slash with a sword. And we were like, oh, hey, neat, he's got a sword. And then he threw it away.
Because he did not need it.
Battle Cat needs no swords. He's got claws.
But it's not Battle Cat.
It's Gyro.
Donair.
Hero.
But he's using the Ultima thing, so it's like he's the new Battle Cat.
Battlist Cat.
Cat battle.
And so Taco decides that he has to go grateful, which means he has to steal the jackets off of Spectre and Necrom.
Because they were using Musashi and...
Nobunaga. I don't know what Necrom was using. He looked like Necrom.
Yeah, Taco
So maybe he
initially
was
had
like
Musashi.
Sanzo or something.
I thought he had... Oh, Taco was Musashi. Okay. Anyways, yeah, steals the jackets off them. So they're just in their like normal forms, and he's all grateful. But then I'm pretty sure Spectre goes deep.
No, they went for a weird Omega triple kick thingy.
Yeah, they did a triple kick on Jiro, or... I wanted a better name for him.
Hero, Gyro,
I mean, Gyro and Donair are pretty close.
Donair Man.
Yeah.
Donair,
Donair.
garlic Donair,
Ooh,
garlic sauce,
I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
Ooh, Athena's breadsticks.
breadsticks.
So Breadstick Boy deflects the triple Omega drive
But
kick.
He like reverses time.
Yeah. He
and
like puts
plops
his hand
them back
up,
down on the ground.
and then it's just like, nope. And then the three of them run away, and Jiro's like, all right, and detransforms. And Steamy Punk Man, who's like been watching the whole time, just walks away laughing. He's like, okay, that was fun. Then we're back at Snapple HQ. This ramen mom. keeps kicking all the boys.
Oh, they're being dumb. She
being wimps.
she tells Trainyard, don't say anything weird anymore. He's like, yes, Mom, and she's just like, not like that, and then like kicks him.
Kicks him in the butt. And kicks Onari in the butt.
And then Onari's like, we run a tight ship here. We discipline in this temple.
And then Poncho Boy is like, you know what? I'm going to go back to town. I'm going to keep an eye on the gate.
Ken shows up and is like, hey, Taco Time. Dr. Science Guy Igarashi's here. Wants to talk to you. And then she just walks up to Mako and he's like, hey, who that dude? I called him Mako, but it's Makoto.
You did.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, Dr. Igarashi was one of the scientists from the experiments 10 years ago.
And then flashback to the fight in his like lab warehouse
Where
thing.
that totally normal gnome with the Nada Naginata slashed him in the back.
Yeah.
And put him in the hospital, apparently not dead.
Yeah, and so he's like, oh, I just got out of hospital. I'm feeling well enough to come by and explain what we were doing 10 years ago. And then Taco has a flashback without touching anybody, but he's in the flashback this time. And
Yeah.
it's Gramps, like normal Gramps, not military Gramps, and Scientist and Buddy. And then he turns around and somebody is walking down the steps into the lab. We start at his boots and we look at his boots for a really, really long time. And then we pan up and it's Taco's dad.
It's Dead Dad.
Dead dad.
Dead dad.
We've got Dead Dad, Igarashi, and Scary Mouth Man as young people that are alive.
And Gramps is like, I think it was Gramps who said, we're all here. We can start the meeting now.
Yeah, start like the exchange.
And then Taco goes, Dad! And then the episode's over.
Dun dun dun.
This is a two-parter.
I mean, they kind of all are. The show keeps going until it ends.
Wait, what?
I think two-parter means there's 2 episodes together.
No, there's more than 2 episodes of the show.
What? I didn't sign on for that.
No, I only agreed to doing 2 episodes of this podcast.
It's going to be a rough time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we keep doing the first episode over and over again, though. Like, we get to episode 2 next week.
It's going to be me doing your voices. You're like, I'm Hodor. I'm Kate.
I sound just like that.
My name is Kate Stark, and I don't know what Sentai is.
Whoa. Did you play a recording of me back?
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
My God.
I have the technology. We're using that technology right now.
My name is Coriander Dickinson. I've seen a bunch of Kamen Rider.
My name's Corey. Yay! I pulled my hand out, and so did my friends.
Sounds just like us.
So this was a okay episode. Some stuff happened. We got some backstory and some prep stuff, and we learned that other people have parents that are also dead. And
You don't say, not in this show.
yeah.
My God.
I don't think any dads live through this show.
No. Rip dads.
If I wanted to put in more effort, I would say we maybe need to keep a dead dad count.
We should have been doing that 31 episodes ago.
I didn't realize there'd be so many dead dads in this, Kate.
A lot of dead dads.
But we've also had, Houdini's dead mom and Satellite Boy's dead brother.
Do you think they all know each other because they're dead? Like in the same way that people think that we know every Canadian because we're all in Canada?
It's
Well-
probably a support group.
Like,
do they have a dead dad friend group
if
on Facebook?
if Donaire Fighter Man, military Donaire, is Trainyard's dad, then that means that Gnome Hell is where dead people go.
But also people who aren't dead are in the coffins.
But are they not dead people?
I thought that they weren't until they became dust.
So if you die in hell, you die in real life.
Yes?
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
We would like to go eat food now.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
idea.
that's a great idea. I like food.
Twitter at GHOSTWATCH2016, YouTube GHOSTWATCH2016, iTunes. You can subscribe to our podcast. Our website is ghostwatch2016.xyz. There's a donate button for PayPal if you want to go there.
So you can help feed us.
Feed
Yeah.
me.
God damn it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.